And then there's the issue of gun violence. And even though there's some order that he's trying to put in place to ensure that guns don't get into, the wrong hands at all times, there's that concern that you've not been able to fight gun violence. I mean, in the last, 1 month or so, literally every week, there's some form of gun violence either in a school. And for me, that's even the biggest worry, because you look at comments from parents and all of them are saying that you don't know if your child is going to come back from school when you drop them off in school, because that has become a place, an easy target for a lot of people who may want to vent out their spleen. And I don't understand why they take it out on children, but whichever way, whoever you take it out on, I think it's wrong. And that concern about guns being available to anybody and everyone, literally, for even a child to be able to shoot her teacher, that's a major problem. And we look at it from afar, but we're close to having some of these things happening here. So I hope that we're also learning from the mistakes that some of these countries are making and ensuring that we protect our children, we protect everyone in this society as well. If he's going to run a second term, one of the things that he's going to be marked on would be the issue of gun violence and how he was able to fight it. Has he tried? I don't know. I don't think it's working. And It's not just him, but it's, all the other presidents as well. It's been a major problem.
Well, the issue about the gun control laws in the United States is that just in case you want to institute new actions to bring some amendment, you need also public opinion. And the last time there was public opinion, particularly in the states where the incident happened, there was not the mass in terms of the majority of the number of respondents in that poll who said they would want guns to be in their hands without license. Yeah. So that's the problem. Drive-by shootings have always been a problem since, I believe...
forever, from Tupac
for decades,
to Biggie
for decades.
and all those
I mean,
issues.
they've even had their presidents had attacks on them. So we know the famous JF Kennedy as well, and some prominent people. So that brings into question whether there's that will in the society for them to. But I think that you raising the issue and bringing the issue back home speaks volumes when we're talking about the violence or conflict in Boko. Because people are having guns for which these guns were not manufactured here. We have double barrel or whatever, multiple barrel machine guns. When each round is multiple, it just shows that we don't have foundries or so-called people who have the ability or the machinery to be able to manufacture them.
Yeah.
So how is it thriving? How are we having guns in people? And even here, we are supposed to go through a license regime. And if you go to the Small Arms Commission, they'll tell you that, well, guns are coming in and somehow they get to go through the ports and then get into the hands of people. They go through checkpoints and they are not seen by the police and they get into the wrong hands. So it's a big issue. For the US, it's just tragic.
It's
just tragic.
It is. And we're told that here, even in Ghana, locally manufactured guns, we have the local manufacturers producing about 200,000 guns annually in this country alone. And that's a major concern, because if you're checking what it takes to even license a gun, nobody checks whether you're mentally sound, whether you're okay to be able to manage a gun. As long as you can meet the other requirements and pay for the licensing, that is enough. But then again, these guns get into the hands of people, and especially the wrong hands as well, and they're using it for all kinds of brutalities. Who was checking that? I saw a video of some young men, and it looks as if one had swallowed whatever medicine it was. So, he was bragging with his friends, and he was saying, shoot me, shoot me. So then the guy shoots him, and nothing happens to him. And this looked like a gang, and they were just being their usual selves when we're talking about gangs. And that was a major problem for me, because who is ensuring that these guns do not get into the hands of some of these people who may not understand the severity of firing a shot, into someone? It's a big problem. And it looks as if when it gets to that point, look at that dating pool, we talked about it, and then after that, what really has been the conversation? It's as if everybody has gone to sleep. Yes, banks are ensuring that they also have, you know, the vans that are protected to prevent some of these people from attacking them. But have we had a conversation about how these guns even get into society and how we're going to prevent that from even escalating to a point where anybody at all can just get up and fire a gun at any point? Nobody is having that conversation. And it's like we're acting like ostriches. And before we realize, it's going to erupt in our faces and there really won't be any control for us at all. So I really do hope that something will be done about it. The Small Arms Commission, they were saying that they want to move beyond just being a commission to actually having the power to decide on some of these gun control activities. What has happened to that? It hasn't happened. We're still talking about it.
It's very shameful. And I think that it's where law enforcement, and particularly the police, need to come in. And for them also to come in with some answers. I know that the IGP has good intent.
Yes,
but if you have
does.
some of these viral videos in which even police are not able to disarm people who have these guns, it brings into question whether there is a certain regimen or regime for us to be able to control guns that are in the hands of individuals.
Yeah.
There are videos of policemen who are being disarmed by so-called galamseyers, just because they've moved between that thin line between policing, having a good relationship with the public, and then becoming friends. And it means that you can enforce your authority.
Yeah.
And it is the police that has the power to be able to do all these enforcement authorities. I think that, have we come to the point where we need to look at maybe some kind of DDR or some disarmament structures, just like they do during post-conflict initiatives? Because I remember particularly when the last conflict took place in Liberia and they tried to do the retrieval of the arms, there was the policy of you bringing arm and coming in for some money.
Yeah.
You know? So we have a lot of guns in there. People are having guns and they brag about it. So, you know, even in the city, there are people who are we have friends who have guns in their cars, and well, we assume or seem to think because they have the license, so that is right. But the thing is that when you have a gun in your hand, you're likely to use the gun to do something.
Yeah.
The U.S. Center for Disease Control, for example, in 2020 did a survey.
Okay.
And they did indicate that for those who want to commit suicide, 52% of them decide to use some of the guns for the suicide. So they go and kill people and subsequently kill themselves. And those who want to commit murders, they are around, we're talking about 43% of them. So that is the bigger question. Have we come to the point that now we have to realize that we have guns in the system and too many of them will become problematic?
Yeah.
You know.
That's true. And there was a study that was conducted by the Small Arms Commission, National Commission of Small Arms and Light Weapons. And this was around 2019-2020, where they said that there were some 2.3 million arms that were in civilian hands. Now, we're told that out of the figure, 1.1 million remained unregistered, with 1.2 million registered with the Criminal Investigation Department. And then they go on to say that police records show that less than the 100,000 licenses of the 1.2 million registered firearms are renewed annually. So we have a lot of firearms within our society who is ensuring that they are licensing it and renewing their licenses. That is why we see the level of crime that we're seeing. So the
conversation about us having friends, and they are in their cars and the guns are there and they brag about it.
Yeah.
So we have to pose the question, have you renewed? Because you're supposed to, there's an annual renewal regime that is in place. Have you gone back to renew? And it will mean that if you want to go and renew, the questions will then have to be asked of you, whether you are in the right frame of mind to be handling guns. You know, I don't know. Maybe one day when we get to the stage of the US where they just shoot themselves or just shoot people, young people just go to, in the US, you go to a hardware store to buy a gun.
Yeah, you can just walk in and buy.
Yeah, you walk in and the accoutrement or the rifles are there and you buy them.
Isn't that scary?
It is. And they are playing video games with guns, etc. So
you know,
the children, but they are calling those who perpetrate this act to be mentally unsound or to be...
Yeah, well, that's what they're saying.
To be having problems.
That's
it's
what
like
they're
the
saying.
homosexual conversation. But we'll see how it goes.
It's crazy. It costs just 10 cedis to renew your license, by the way, if you have a firearm for local arms. Yeah, we'll be back.
Go and buy one gun.
Huh? Well, our tomorrow is today. We're living in the present, and we're making sure that everything we do also affects our tomorrow.
Yes.
Hallelujah, somebody.
Preach it, my sister.
Amen.
Ajwa, welcome.
Thank you, Berla. How are you? How was your Easter?
It was okay.
You look pretty in pink.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It was okay. It was. I had a lot to do. But
Yeah.
It still went well.
We're glad. We're glad.
Yes,
we're glad.
it did. How is yours?
Relaxing. But yeah, spent with family and friends.
Yeah.
So it was worth it. It was worth it.
And
it was worth
yesterday
it.
you were at the
Yes.
Center
It was
with 3FM.
an amazing day. So we spent time with the inmates. They gave us some of the most amazing performances. Like, so a lot of them are actual artists.
Oh, nice.
So they sang their songs, they did poems, they did plays for us. They enjoyed the food, they enjoyed the vibes, they danced.
Okay.
We played some games with them, and it was very amazing to see. There are a lot of very intelligent, very well-cultured gentlemen in there, and we're excited for the future and the prospects. It's just good to show some love on such a special day with them. And thank you to every single one of our viewers that contributed, to the various corporate bodies that helped us, those that are represented with their companies, and as well to you, our incredible viewer, who sent in your donations and helped make Power of Three a possibility. We'll be doing it annually and hopefully doing a lot more CSR
Nice.
from 3FM and then the 3 Drive and 3 Sunrise. Yes.
Great. That's nice. Congrats to the team that worked on it as well.
Yes,
Of course, the entire
yes.
3FM team. And we're looking forward to more such events.
Absolutely.
To give
Absolutely.
back to society.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway, there's a brewing conversation, about Davido, and we're just talking about it. Yesterday I was going back and forth. I wasn't tweeting necessarily, but I was trying to just get updates from people. So, Olele shouts you wherever you are. And Davido has just dropped the video. Olele Salvador. Salvador, that's his
A.K.A.
name.
Emmanuel Sapon.
Emmanuel Sapon, yeah, he's causing wahala on Twitter. But I really like that gentleman because I think that he's also carved a niche for himself as the go-to for information when it comes to anything entertainment, especially. Yesterday, Davido released a teaser for one of his songs, a video, and he came to tweet about the quality of video and how they're investing so much in quality, which is why they're getting the results that they're getting, and we are not doing same as Ghanaian artists as well. By the way, Davido's Timeless album became the first African album to top US iTunes charts. That already is even causing a debate, about how he's investing in the craft and also investing in promotion as well. And the question that is constantly being asked is, are we willing as Ghanaians to also invest in our craft as much, especially the arts industry, to see that our music is also transcending borders and not just crossing to just the UK? And then we're okay. Because, Charlie, these Nigerians are going global with their songs. And they're getting booked for all the top events in the US, which hitherto would not have happened. So that's a big deal for them. How are we ensuring that we also get to that level and even go beyond? Because once upon a time, we were the ones leading.
Literally.
The arts industry, with our movies, with our music. The Nigerians will always tell us that, well, you people didn't know what you had. So we came here, we sampled, we took it away, and we made it our own. And Basketball said it himself here, that his last song that he did, he came here to carry some parts of our instrumentals, took it to Nigeria, put it together, and it worked for him. But the problem with us is, first of all, we don't know what we have. Secondly, our own people do not also support as much as Nigerians would do.
Wow.
Look at this, album talks, 4.1 million.
Yes.
Wow.
So the 4.1 million is the streams?
Yes, on Spotify,
Yes, on Spotify.
in one day alone. In one day alone.
So how much do they stream for? Is it a cent?
No, less than a cent. I think sometimes it's like 0.06 or something.
Not dollar,
like
cent.
No, like cents. It's like sometimes a cent, but I'll get you those stats very shortly. But it's quite interesting to see how Nigerians are always determined to top it. Because, Davido doesn't need to have pushed himself and activated his album.
Even the Mr. Money with a vibe is a Nigerian?
Yes, Asake.
Yeah, Ashake.
That's the gentleman.
Ashake, yeah, Mr. Money.
He wears the baggy stuff.
Yeah, that's him. So top 4, in fact, top 10.
Has his teeth, right?
Top 10.
Yes.
We don't have a Ghanaian in there.
There's
top
Playboy
10.
by Fireboy.
Wow.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites, Playboy.
Top 10 albums on NG Spotify. NG is Nigeria,
Yes.
right?
So artists get between 0.003 cents to 0.005 cents.
But you just have to multiply that with the number of streams.
With
per
200
stream
million.
on
With 200
average.
million
And that's for
Nigerians.
only one streaming
Yeah,
site.
one. So then,
Yeah.
of course, if you're also going number one on iTunes in America, and it's very different. So there's even a difference with the way the payment policy is in different countries. So somewhere in Africa, you just pay Apple Music and you just get to stream the songs. And in elsewhere around the world, you actually pay per album, and you have to buy the albums, and you have to
keep renewing.
You keep renewing, and then all that numbers. So the numbers and income generated on other websites or other streaming platforms in different countries earn you a whole lot more. So for you to be #1 on the US iTunes, it's a massive deal because he became the first Nigerian to do so. That means that's a lot more ears that are being introduced to his music, and this is leading to a ripple effect in everything that we do. But a very big point you made is about the quality of videos, but then it comes down to funding, doesn't it? In Ghana, a lot of these artists are self-funded. If not, there are very few record labels that have the ability, the scope, and the funding to be able to push the artist to the maximum point. So the point is, if you're not getting enough, how do you now dedicate a large portion to doing videos? Because someone like TJ Omari, who's now the go-to person in Nigeria for the videos, is collecting over $20,000 per video. It's sometimes as high as $50,000 or $100,000. So if you are going to pay that amount just for the video alone, then you now hope that it will catch the eyes of the best platforms to be able to play it non-stop before you now start generating money more on streams. It's a long ripple effect that a lot of artists just can't afford here in Ghana.
Is it that they can't afford or they're not willing to?
They can't afford.
If you're not getting enough money.
And then also there's a certain direct link with how an economy thrives, and then how its art industry also thrives. So we always talk about using California, for example, and it's directly linked to how effectively Hollywood has grown over 200 billion in GDP alone.
Yeah.
You know, it's more than many countries in the world put together. And that is even just one state in America. All right. It's a big industry. The biggest film industry, we're told, is Bollywood.
Yes.
All right. So there is a certain relationship between how well your economy does, the income levels, the ability to pay of the individuals who want the music.
Yeah.
And while the population also counts, for example, somebody who is a musician in Singapore would definitely get more money because the economy is bigger, even though the population is smaller.
Absolutely.
So that population matter, it depends on the size of the economy. I mean, that's the reality. When you have a big economy, it also can correlate with the population.
Yeah.
But the thing is that that population needs to be productive. It needs to add value. And that value that will be added necessarily will have to go beyond its shores to other markets and economically to be able to generate revenue for the individual companies that generate the revenue.
Yeah.
And they would then self-finance the arts, the entertainment industry, the media industry, etc. And definitely that is why you find that in Southern Africa, artists do better.
Yes.
They don't have to even travel out of Southern Africa.
Literally to be able to...
and the Nigerians, because also they have the population, they travel.
Yeah.
They are everywhere, literally. They're in Tamale.
Yes.
Why would a Nigerian go and live in Tamale?
Yeah.
Do you understand? They're in Tamale.
Yeah.
They could have just decided that they want to travel and go and live somewhere in South Africa.
Yeah.
They are there too.
Yeah.
You
They're
know.
everywhere. They're,
So
they're in Finland.
and I think
Iceland.
and I
North
think
Pole.
and I think that it's a good thing that we had that conversation with basketball.
Yeah.
Because when a Nigerian artist comes to Ghana to undertake a show and the show is well promoted, it means that we're going to have Nigerians going to promote or enter that venue and then fill it up. You know.
Well, we'll continue this conversation hopefully when there's time. But right now we have to jump into Johnny's Bites. It's quite interesting how he's been biting here and there. But let's listen to who else he's biting this morning on Johnny's Bites.